Hello, Daniel. Thank you so much for being here for my Career Summit. I'm super excited you're here to ask you some questions. Without any further ado, can you introduce yourself?
You bet. Dan Yarrington, and living over here in Madrid, Spain.
And can you tell me what your job occupation is?
Yeah, you bet. So I'm an Air Force pilot. Been in the Air Force of Madrid to work with NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and I work in a combined air operations center as a staff officer here.
Great. And how many years have you been in the Air Force?
So 17 plus now.
Wow. And you're also a Pottstown alumni. What year did you graduate?
I am. So I graduated Pottstown in 1997, a few years ago.
Yeah, just a few. So let's start at the beginning. You're in high school. Is this where you thought you would be?
So actually, yes. When I was in probably 4th or 5th grade, I saw some fighter planes flying over and decided that's what I wanted to do. And so thankfully I ended up going to Pottstown High, where I was able to join junior ROTC. And through that, I was able to get a scholarship to go to ROTC to a college where I went to Embry-Riddle, graduated and commissioned in the Air Force, and I got selected to be a pilot. So actually I knew at a young age and kind of stuck to what I wanted to do and just try to make the choices along the route and along the route to get there.
Wonderful. So you went to Embry-Riddle, which is in Florida, and what was your major?
I was an aerospace engineering major.
Fantastic. So can we talk a little bit about how Pottstown's ROTC program prepared you for Embry-Riddle's program?
You bet. So a little bit about Pottstown Junior ROTC. I had an instructor there at the time who took the time to mentor me and kind of explain to me what the Air Force was about and how to best position myself to try to fill out the application correctly, to earn the ROTC scholarship, and just kind of give me a broad brush overview of what was entailed being in the Air Force and then also being a pilot. And so that really helped cage my thoughts and kind of what in my preparation to get me focused to be able to get to where I wanted to be.
Fantastic. So let's talk about college. You're in college, aviation. How was the program?
So the program was excellent. It was a top-notch engineering program. It was very difficult, actually, once I got to the upper-level courses. But it's just working with classmates and the professors, be able to get through it. ROTC adds a little bit of extra work to any college degree because there's always a 3-credit ROTC class that you have to take. And so sometimes that means you spend an extra 6 months at college. For me, I actually extended that out into an extra year at college. So I did mine in 5 years, but at the end of the day, it wasn't a big deal to do 4 versus 5. And great experience. So they really, ROTC does a great job preparing somebody to go into the military and become an officer. And then also alongside of that, the engineering degree was great. Embry-Riddle was they call it the Harvard of the skies. It's everybody that goes there has a passion for aviation. And so it was a great place to be if you want to be surrounded by a bunch of aviation geeks.
Can we discuss a little bit about you having to pay or not pay for college?
So thankfully I was blessed to get a scholarship to pay for tuition. The first year I had to pay a little bit out of pocket, but then after that it was covered all by the Air Force. And so that was also a huge blessing because I wasn't in a position, nor was my family, to be able to pay for a very expensive school.
So they paid for your college tuition. Did they pay for books and tuition as well?
They paid for books and room and board. The Air Force did not. Embry-Riddle on a military scholarship. They picked up the room and board tab in the book. So that was great.
Wonderful. So you came out. You didn't owe anything. How many years back did you have to give to the Air Force?
So 1 year for every year that they paid for. So I owed the Air Force 5 years. But then as soon as you go into pilot training, that kind of goes out the window because you owe 10 years after you graduate from pilot training for the Air Force, because that's a incredibly costly endeavor to put you through a couple years of training. It wasn't cumulative, it was concurrent. So 10 years total after pilot training. Okay. The earliest I could have gotten out was at 12 years, and I ended up getting out at 12 and a half years of the Air Force. And by get out, I actually got out of active duty, joined the Air National Guard, and then I was there for 4.5 years, and then actually now I'm back at active duty to come over to this job.
Wonderful. Can you talk a little bit about pilot school? What does that look like?
Yeah, so pilot school in the Air Force, obviously, since that's the one that I went to, it's a very rigorous program, and it's kind of meant out, weed out folks who aren't necessarily going to be able to deal with all the stress that's involved with military aviation, but they do a good job of helping any struggling students try to figure it out to the best of their ability. And so there's 3 weeks academics to start out, some centrifuge training for all the G's you pull, and the fighter trainers, and then there's lots of obviously simulators before you fly, and then you start flying with a lot of dual instructor, and then you get to solo, which is one of the greatest experiences when you go solo in a jet trainer for the first time, and you realize there's no one else except for you. And then you have initial training, named primary trainer. So right now it's a T6. I did mine in the T-37. And then you track to either fighters via the T-38 or to heavy aircraft via the T-1, which is a little leader jet, a little business jet. So, and then you do another 6 months in that, and then you graduate pilot training, and then go on to whatever other aircraft to continue your training for a total of almost 2 years of training.
Great. So can you just talk a little bit about what that first experience was when you turned around and nobody else was in your aircraft?
Yeah, it's bizarre. It's like, well, I guess I can do this, and they gave me the keys to steal the aircraft, and it's one of the best feelings in the world. And so from that moment on, I knew I wanted to fly a single seat fighter and not have anybody else in the jet other than myself, because it was that great a feeling.
Wow, congratulations. What a long journey you came through. So now you have lived in several different countries. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we started out in Oklahoma, then we moved to Florida for training for a year, then we moved to Alaska for 2 years, from there we went to Turkey for 2 years, from there to Japan for 2.5 years, and then we moved to Massachusetts to join the Air National Guard, 4.5 years there, and then we're now currently in Madrid, Spain. We just got here last summer.
Wonderful. Has that been a fun part of the job, traveling all around, living in different places?
It has. You learn. You meet a lot of great people everywhere you go. You experience a lot of great cultures. Just seeing the world. We've gotten to try just food from all over the world that we just absolutely love, and seeing a lot of amazing sights. So we do love the moving. We don't love the packing or the unpacking. But just saying that the packing and the unpacking is a small price to pay to get to see the world.
And get paid for it.
And get paid for it,
yeah. Can you tell me what a typical day looks like for you, if you even have a typical day?
So as a pilot or here at the staff job?
Let's talk about pilot first, and then you can talk about.
So as a pilot, typically we'll fly 3 to 4 times a week, and you'll see the schedule the day prior at the very least and figure out what you're doing. Usually there's some prep work involved and mission planning on what kind of mission you're going to go fight, and then we'll go show up. We brief in the morning, a couple hours before we go fly. Usually for about an hour, how we're going to do it. And then we'll go out and we will fight. Typically, if it's just in-house in our same squadron, then we do what's called blue air, which are the good guys, and red air, which are the bad guys. So we'll have a number of us simulating the bad guys, and then the blue air guys will go out and fight those guys in whatever the mission is. We'll go fight. Usually it's total flight time's about an hour and a half without a tanker. The fights itself will last 25 to 30 minutes maybe, and then we'll come back, land, get out of our G suits and all the flying gear, and then we'll go debrief after we watch our tapes, and that's where all the learning happens. And usually we spend at least a couple hours watching the tapes, trying to learn any mistakes we might have made, how to improve, and make it better for next time.
Oh wow. And now what you do over in Spain?
So over here, there's a couple different operations center. Basically involves the air policing mission, which is having fighters throughout Europe on a alert status and being able to scramble for any kind of scenarios that you can think of ever since 9/11. And then also just training An Air Operations Center is a center that would run a war should a conflict kick off, and so we would be the ones that would help plan that, all the missions and the organization and the execution of it.
Can you give me some advice for high school students interested in becoming a pilot or even joining the Air Force?
Yeah, you bet. So I would say it sounds like a cliche, but the wherever you are, wherever you're planted, bloom where you grow. Do your best in each and every class. It's a matter at the end of the day, but that's not all that matters. Develop your leadership skills, develop your communication, network, even with students in high school. And then that becomes even more important when you get to college, to keep that networking, keep those study habits, and keep pursuing what your goals are. Because obviously if you do something that you're passionate about, then you're probably going to be more enticed to work harder towards that.
And then for a student who's interested in just enlisting in the Air Force?
Yeah, that's a great option as well. And if college isn't necessarily for you right out of high school, enlisting in the Air Force has a million different programs to help you pay for college, or even Air National Guard also can help pay for college. And then you get a chance to, it'll usually take you more than 4 years to get through college, because you've also got obviously a full-time job and deployments and such. But I've known a lot of enlisted folks that have gotten through their bachelor's and masters with the Air Force paying for it.
That's great. Thank you. I just love all of your worldview of how you just live everywhere in your experience. Do you have a favorite country that you've lived in so far?
No, it depends for what. So for flying, Alaska, hands down. The flying was just amazing up there. For all the cultural and Christian historic sites that we saw, Turkey. And then for the food, Japan. We love sushi. So it just depends for what.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I know it's a night there and day here, so I thank you for coordinating. Thank you for your service for our country. We really appreciate all that you have done for us. And I just thank you again for answering my many questions.
You bet. Thanks for having me on.